What's up, people? This is Who That Edition, with your favorite host, Trill Quat. And you know I'm back. Another week, college football, picking my Buffaloes to win again. So let's get into it. Colorado plays Colorado State, one of the biggest rivals in college football. And this year, it's at Colorado State. So we're going to see what my Buffaloes do. But I'm picking them to win, man. I think a bounce back week is needed. This is the biggest game of Coach Prime's career. This is year two, and I think this is the biggest game of his career because he has to show that the program is headed in the right way. It's moving forward, and it's not, moving back, and it's not still a bad team. Last year, before this game, his biggest win period was the season opener last year against TCU. But I think this year, a win like this is something you need. You cannot, Colorado cannot leave Colorado State with a loss. They have to end in that game with a W and leave that stadium with a W. They have to. Um, Colorado State roster isn't as good as it was last year. Yes, they have the quarterback in Horton, their top receiver, returning back, but their tight end is gone. They lost a few pieces on the back end of the secondary from last year. I don't think their roster is just, overall as good as they were last year. And I think Colorado defense, they see how good they have played in the second half of both games. And I think they would come out strong and come out faster than they did last week. But the keys to success are kind of the same. And let's get into it. One, to lead Colorado State with a W, Colorado must protect Shador. They may be number one to the rest of the season because Shador is an entire Colorado offense. They run game. Even if they get it started, it's not going to be dominant. So Shador is the entire offense, right? So protect Shador is one. Two, you got to get out of man coverage. Colorado State beat them last year all day with crossing routes. Teams know they're in man coverage, so they will run crossing routes all day and man coverage, beating routes. It's not hard to beat, man coverage. And if a defense sticks in it, they're going to be for a long day. And three, Colorado's offense must have different formations and they must use movements to confuse the defense. If you just stick in spread and spread only, that's 2x2 or 3x1, empty, all that. You gotta use some motion, some different formations to confuse the defensive coordinator at Colorado State. You have to put some stress on them from not just saying, okay, we seen this on film, they're gonna do this and gonna do this. But this week you need to come out, Pat Sherman need to come out with different formations and motions and things like that no one has really seen to confuse Colorado State this week. But I think it'll be a close one. Colorado is favored by 7.5. I think they cover. They win by 10. I say 28-18, 28-17. Colorado win in a close type of game. Good game, crazy environment. But Colorado leads with a W. Next, the big noon kickoff Saturday, Alabama at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's gonna be up for this game. This is a big shot for Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a a known school, big name school that produces big backs, big linemen, and things like that. And it would be interesting to see can Alabama stop the run. Last week, UCF ran the ball for 206 yards against Alabama, and Wisconsin is licking their chops and saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna run this ball down Alabama's throat," and that's the formula to success so far against Alabama. No, they haven't lost a game yet, but just running the ball down Alabama's throat has been success. Has been giving team success against them these past few weeks. But Alabama must dominate this week. They have next week they have a bye, and then they have the big dogs in Georgia. They have to leave their best their best on the field and definitely leave with a W for sure. But they must dominate. I think this week they're ranked number 4. A lot of rankings I've seen have Tennessee above them, of course, Bama above them, and things like that. So they're not even really top 3 in their conference. They're like 4 or 5 in the SEC. So getting a dominant win against a decent decent Wisconsin team would be big. But one thing I would be looking for is seeing the passing game. Milroe hasn't, shown up in that big game yet. The first week he had 200 yards, and last week he had 194. And the first week it was against trash competition, and he only threw the ball 9 times and had 200 yards. And then I need to see some other receivers show up. Ryan Williams, the freshman, he's only 17 years old. He's averaging 103 yards per game. He's really been their only option at receiver. I want to see who else can show up for this Bama air game, because once they get like the Georgias and they get to the deeper their schedule, or they play more tougher, the Kentuckys and more tougher defenses and better defensive minded coaches, I think they will find ways to take out Ryan Williams, and then the other guys gonna have to show up. So it'd be interesting to see who else shows up for Alabama in the passing game in this week against Wisconsin. So Friday we got a good game, man. Friday night on Fox we got a good game. Arizona versus Kansas State. I think Kansas State is home. Both teams coming off ugly wins. Kansas State was won by 7 against Tulane, and then Arizona won by 12 against Northern Arizona. So big bounce back week for both teams. They're looking to show their dominance, and they're a for real playoff contender team in the Big 12. Ironically, this is not a conference game. It won't go on each team conference, so on their conference record. So that's interesting to see how in the end how it will affect. But it's definitely a big game for both teams. This is both teams kind of biggest competition yet this far. Yes, it's early in the year, but you got to start putting your best foot forward early, so your later games won't be so much pressure on you to get into the playoffs. But I think it's going to come down to the battle, the QB battle. Avery Johnson versus Noah Feeder. And I'm leaning towards Noah Feeder. He's had more experience. Avery Johnson, I believe, is a bit overrated. A lot of people were, high on him. Even Kansas State was high on him by letting Will Howard go because they know he was going to be the backup. But I think he's a bit, overrated. He doesn't see the field well to me. He was very inaccurate last week. Completion percentage was low. And I think McMillan would be featured heavy. Last week he only had 11 yards and 2 catches. Top 3, top 4, top 2 receiver in the country, only with 11 catches, and your team still scores 22 points. Kind of shows a lot, but I think he would be featured heavy early, and get involved early. And as Arizona wins, I think close early, but then I think Arizona will pull out later. I got Arizona, I would say 31-20, 11 point dub. I got Arizona winning that one. Then we get into upset of the week. Tulane versus Oklahoma. I'm going with Tulane unranked to beat the 16th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma looked at dreadful last week. Oh my goodness, they looked at bad last week. They beat who did Arizona beat last week? It was a terrible win for Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a terrible win against Houston. Yep, Houston. And it was 16-12. Ugly win. They got a safety kind of to solidify the win. It was 12-14. Late in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma had a chance to go down and win with a field goal. And Houston had a chance to go down and win with a field goal. And Oklahoma gets the safety and wins the game. Tulane offensive firepower is crazy. They put up 27 points against who they played last week, Arizona, Kansas State, and you just see the firepower in Tulane. Tulane, I think, and them and Boise State is going to be neck and neck for that 12th seed playoff spot coming from the the G5 type of schools. Oklahoma offense is terrible. Jack Arnold doesn't see the field well. He really just has a nice big arm, and that's not going to get it done against quality opponents. I think Tulane is a quality opponent. Last week against Houston, he threw 2 interceptions, and really was almost cost them that game. But he's not throw 2 interceptions. He threw 4 touchdowns, but he only threw for 141 yards, and a lot of his touchdowns were close to the goal line, but it was an ugly win. Win for Oklahoma. I got Tulane upsetting Oklahoma this week. That's my upset of the week. Be sure to tune in as we continue to drop more, college football content. College football is here, man. It's not the best football. I wouldn't say it's better than NFL, but it's there. We love it. We love it. College football is at this break. Like 12-team playoffs this season is amazing. Every game is meaningful, but it may not be that meaningful. But we're going to see, man. Y'all make sure you please subscribe. Like, comment, share. I'm still with my Buffaloes. These were my few games that I picked to be the biggest games and biggest, surprise or things they had into them, details into them. Let me know in the comments how you guys feeling about the picks, how you guys feel about my Buffaloes, how you feel about Coach Prime. Is Alabama a serious contender? Upset of the week? Let me know. I'm Trill, your host. I keep it two things, true, real. Peace.